episode of my blog, Behind the Crown. As most of you know, I started this with a podcast, but my actual blog is something I've had in mind since last July. And so I'm super excited to get started today. So one thing we really want to touch on this, the reason I started, is the PRCA has over 80 rules put into place to protect our animal livestock, our athletes, our personnel. And I really want to give highlight to those and educate our general public about that. So no one else better to have on here with me today is our First Lady of Professional Rodeo, Hailey Frederiksen. Hailey, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule here at the National Western Stock Show. So just give me a little introduction about yourself and to introduce all our viewers.
Yeah, well, thanks, Elise, for having me on your first episode for your podcast. I'm super excited. But I guess for those that may not know me, I was just crowned Miss Rodeo America back in December of last year. It still hasn't quite hit me yet, but I think it will eventually once I get out of the state of Colorado, because just as you had mentioned, we are here at the 116th National Western Stock Show. So this is here in my home state. I was here as Miss Rodeo Colorado 2020, and it just feels like home here at the National Western Stock Show. But before my rodeo queen days, I like to say I knew how to ride before I could even sit up as a baby. So yes, I practically did grow up in the saddle. There are pictures of my mom plopping me in the saddle with her at some local jackpots. My mom was a barrel racer. She still barrel races. And my dad team-ups as well. Of course, I followed in my mom's footsteps, wanted a barrel race, and I'm sure my dad was waiting on the sidelines for a very long time until I finally did decide to pick up that rope. So I'm now learning how to team rope with him and hopefully breakaway rope here pretty soon. But this is a full-time job as a Miss Rodeo America, so I'm focused in on this for this year. Yes, this will be a one-time gig. This won't be a 2-year gig. I'm sure there's some people probably tired of seeing me for 3 years now, but I'm just honestly truly blessed for this position. This has been a dream job of mine since I was 12 years old and when I met Miss Rodeo America in 2009. So this has been a long time in the making. I am truly blessed for this opportunity and can't wait to see what 2022 has in store for us this year.
Awesome, that sounds so great. I can actually really relate and talk about your mom plopping me in the saddle and going barrel racing, because that's how I got started as well. I actually have a picture, I think I was about 13 months old, and I'm sitting high and proud in that saddle, playing with the saddle horn, had my little bonnet on, and when I was about 4 years old, my mom threw me in the local princess pageants because it was one more thing for me to do. So it's really fun to learn how we all get our start in the industry with horses, and I've really into that.
And I always tell people I couldn't imagine growing up any other way than in the saddle and in the Western lifestyle. It has really taught me so much and has created the person that I am today. So without that upbringing, I don't think I would be where I am in these Justin boots right now, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd also talked about maybe this is a job, like a full-time job for you as well. So you just came from the Miss Rodeo America pageant, obviously it went very well for you. But just give us a little insight. We talked about how much knowledge a rodeo queen is supposed to have. And so what did you do to prepare yourself to have that knowledge to carry through the pageant and also to be Miss Rodeo America?
Yeah, well, there's some misconceptions about rodeo queens. We are all beauty, but we're also brains as well. And so with this title becomes immense responsibility of having a good knowledge about professional sport of rodeo and agriculture, the entire Western lifestyle, so to speak. So not only do we need to be pretty, but we also need to know how to ride. We also need to be knowledgeable. We need to be well-spoken. And that says volumes about the organizations and the girls underneath these crowns and sashes, is that we're not just all beauty, we're brains too. That's what I like to say. But in terms of preparing for the Miss Rodeo America pageant, I made sure to say yes to every opportunity. And Christy Noem actually touched base on this about saying yes to opportunities. And I couldn't agree with her more when she talked about that at the PRCA luncheon at the Miss Rodeo America pageant this past year. Not only saying yes to those opportunities, but having that willingness to learn. Just because I was crowned Miss Rodeo Colorado did not mean that I knew everything. So I always want to make sure to have that open mind, willingness to learn, say yes to those opportunities, and I really think that helped propel me better myself in preparation for this Rodeo America pageant.
Yes, absolutely. I had a great time at that PRCA luncheon. Christy Noem shared so many great things of advice. And say yes for those first things that she talked about. And I really love that you had that in your life already, and you really put that into. She's a great governor to look up to as well.
Absolutely.
So one thing that with the knowledge, I fully believe is with that knowledge, we can also use it to educate our general public. And I am very big on having that knowledge, which is one reason I want to start this blog. So I really want to bring highlight to those little pieces and tidbits and fun facts that we can share with our general public about why we love this industry, why we love the sport. We grew up with it since the day we could walk, and now today we're in our dusty boots. Kind of feel always dirt some days and even a rodeo, but it's a great industry to be a part of. So thinking about like fun facts, what's a fun fact about rodeo that you like to share with people, or about yourself as well?
Well, you know, with rodeo, a lot of people, they don't understand that rodeo is a professional sport. When I am telling people about the PRC, which is the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and what we represent as state queens and as Miss Rodeo America, is that these are professional athletes that we're dealing with here. The cowboys, cowgirls, the animal athletes, the stock contractors, you name it, they're professional athletes. Just as much as the basketball and football players that you see in professional leagues. Now, being a professional athlete also comes with the treatment behind those professional athletes. So your cowboys and cowgirls, they're not just sitting at home waiting for that next rodeo, they're preparing for that next rodeo. So they're working out, making sure they eat properly, because they need to be just as much in shape as their animal athletes do, which leads into the care for our animal athletes. You know, a lot of people think that we're forcing these animals to be out there in their rodeo arena, and that is not the case. I've seen the passion and the care behind these animals, especially talking to stock contractors, and then also the cowboys and cowgirls that bring their own horses to these rodeos. They're world-class travelers just like any of us. They're traveling from one rodeo to the other. So they have to have the absolute best care there is for those animals to be on their best game. Because compared to other professional sports, instead of being paid to play, we pay to play. So we're not always guaranteed that paycheck. And so that means we have to be at our top game whenever we come to rodeo, whether it's big or small. So there's a lot of care and detail, attention to detail that goes in before every rodeo performance.
Absolutely, that's a really great point you pointed out, that we pay to play. And we wouldn't be able to do this without our sponsors. So we're going to tune in with our sponsor reporter, Sammy.
Wilhelm Chevrolet in Jamestown is a proud sponsor of Miss Rodeo North Dakota. Throughout her year, Miss Rodeo North Dakota will travel approximately 30,000 miles to various rodeos, appearances, schools, and much more across the region and surrounding states. Rod Wilhelm understands what it takes to get down the road safely, the traditions of rodeo, and the impact that rodeo queens have on the industry. Find them on Facebook at Wilhelm Chevrolet or online at donwilhelm.com.
Thank you, Sammy, for taking time to report on our one of our greatest sponsors, Wilhelm Chevrolet. I'm so thankful to be here in Denver, safely travel home here, thankful to that half-ton pickup. But just to wrap things up really quick, because I like to end all of my episodes, whether it's a podcast or a blog, with a challenge. And this can be a personal development challenge for anybody who's in rodeo, outside of rodeo, another rodeo queen, or somebody inspiring to be rodeo queen. So I'd like to give that honor to you today, and I'd like you to pick our challenge that we can share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a great thing that you're trying to do there. Well, before I got the Lancer Black Hills Gold Crown, I was Miss Rodeo Colorado, as we all know, for 2 years, and I was a part of that 2-year class. And there was a lot of unforeseen obstacles that us girls went through, and not just us girls as rodeo queens, but everyone affected in the rodeo industry, Western lifestyle industry as a whole. And you know, my parents always taught me to stay positive no matter what. And as cliche as it may sound, I have always tried to make sure to view the glass half full versus half empty in any situation. And I have to say that even though 2020 was the year that we had our global pandemic come out, I had the greatest time in 2020, and that was because I just took life by the reins. You know, I might have been given a handful of a horse, but I took it by the reins and just ran with it because I stayed positive. I made it through 2020, and now look where I am now. And I hope the same, and I challenge the same for you all today, is to instead view that glass half full versus half empty.
Absolutely, I absolutely love that. If you check out my 3rd episode of my podcast, I talked about a really similar topic. That's something I like to do in my life as well. 2020 was a great year for me. The year I got my permit for my first time. I wanted to do a video, so it was really fun. Thank you, Kelly, for taking time to join me today. I hope to have you on again in the future, maybe. And thank you, everybody, for joining me on Behind the Crown. I'll see you at the next rodeo.